The WNBA has long been a hotbed of competitive skill, with several players putting their all on the floor. However, when a player like Caitlin Clark emerges, the whole league's atmosphere shifts. Clark is a generational talent who has redefined what it means to be dominant in women's basketball. Her overwhelming talent and ability to smash records have made her a fan favorite, but she has also elicited hatred and jealousy from other players and analysts.
Here's Clark, nice find, Agumake push shot, banks in, make it 8 assists for Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark's recent promotion to MVP rank has sparked outrage among the WNBA. This wasn't just any triumph, it was a watershed event that made the league take notice. However, her success sparked an outpouring of criticism, especially from those who couldn't tolerate her domination. This pushback from both athletes and media figures highlights the difficulties that often follow sporting success. It also begs the issue of why certain individuals are unable to cope with the ascent of a very exceptional athlete.
Caitlin Clark Kent, superwoman, you see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record Friday against the Aces.
In this video, we'll examine the drama that followed Caitlin Clark's MVP win, including comments from other players, media characters, and the WNBA fandom as a whole. We'll also examine how Clark's ascension has upended the league's relationships and sparked outrage among her opponents. Caitlin Clark did not become a WNBA superstar overnight. Her path to becoming one of the league's finest players was marked by years of hard work, devotion, and record-breaking performances. Her collegiate basketball career, when she captained the Iowa Hawkeyes, was defined by amazing exploits that distinguished her from her colleagues. Clark's deadly shooting range, basketball IQ, and exceptional playmaking talents made her a force to be reckoned with.
In average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings.
After joining the WNBA, she quickly became a household name. Her first few games in the league were a spectacle of high-scoring, triple-double performances that had fans and observers alike excited about her potential. However, as Clark's status grew, so did the number of players and commentators who were less pleased about her achievement. The more she succeeded on the court, the more resentment among some players became apparent. Despite the rising tensions surrounding her, Caitlin stayed concentrated on her game. She broke records, racked up remarkable numbers, and led her team to victory. By the time the WNBA MVP campaign began, Clark was clearly one of the frontrunners.
Look at this quote here. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings, end quote. So no, Caitlin Clark. Cheryl Swoops.
When Caitlin Clark was named the WNBA's MVP, it seemed like a watershed moment for the league. Her triumph was well-deserved, considering her contributions to the game and leadership on the court. Statistically, she exceeded many of her colleagues, guiding her squad to one of its greatest seasons. Her ability to score, assist, and create chances for her teammates elevated her to a league of her own. However, the MVP award wasn't without debate. Some players and observers felt that other athletes were more deserved, citing senior players who had been in the league longer or had more experience. Clark's quick ascension and achievement were seen as excessive and premature. For some, the fact that a younger player had surpassed seasoned veterans appeared like an unjust disturbance in the league's hierarchy.
I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the hype that she had, the expectations she had to live up to, packing out arenas on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people out there waiting to see her fail and still keeping her composure as a rookie and leading this team has been a beautiful thing to see.
This response was more than simply a dispute over the MVP award. It was the result of rising displeasure with Clark's domination. Her propensity to capture the attention with her dazzling moves and high-scoring games left several veterans feeling marginalized and underappreciated. Several players expressed their dissatisfaction with Clark's MVP victory, both publicly and privately. Some were subtle, casting a shadow in interviews and social media postings, while others were more outspoken in their dislike for her success.
Cheryl Swoops. No, Caitlin Clark. Respectfully, Cheryl Swoops, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Caitlin Clark, because that gives fodder to those who believe she's being hated on and ostracized to some degree? Do you realize that, Cheryl Swoops, you're insane to do that? Let me tell you why you're insane to do that. Because Cheryl Swoops, you're one of the greatest players ever in the history of basketball. That's why. See, you won a championship in college at Texas Tech. You won 3 Olympic gold medals. You won 4 WNBA championships. You know basketball.
Some veterans in particular seemed hesitant to accept Clark's new standing as the league's best player. These athletes, who had spent years working towards their accomplishments, felt let down by Clark's quick climb to the top. The MVP race, which they thought should have been theirs to win, had been stolen by a player who was just beginning her career. Clark's victory seemed like a disturbance to the natural order, a passing of the torch that came much too soon. This increasing anger wasn't limited to the locker rooms. On the court, Clark became the subject of more aggressive play. Hard fouls, taunting, and other unsportsmanlike behavior increased as some players sought to knock her down a peg. It became evident that some of her colleagues couldn't take her success and were prepared to go to extreme measures to undermine her game.
On the debut episode, co-host Maya Reese, who is Angel's cousin, asked her to address her feelings about rival Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark and the Fever's fan base. Take a look at what Angel Reese had to say about that. Quote, Caitlin Clark fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans, I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like, I'm talking about people who have come down to my address, following me home. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me naked, literally. They've sent it to my family members. It sucks to see that, and it's really hard that I have to go through that.
Clark's MVP award was hardly the only cause of contention. In the media, numerous analysts questioned whether Clark genuinely deserved the title. Some have even argued that her success was exaggerated because of her marketability and popularity among fans, rather than her real performance on the court. This story, however, disregarded the facts. Clark's MVP victory was supported by indisputable numbers and performances that speak for themselves. However, the media's obsession with pulling her down seemed to match the views of her opponents in the league. Resentment over a young player, breaking through obstacles that had held others at the top for so long.
The real deal. Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41% shooting, 33% from three-point range, leading the league in assists. Her last 5 games, Shannon, 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11.4 assists per game. They've won 4 of their last 5, and now the Indiana Fever are 7th place overall and in playoff positioning. Caitlin Clark is real. She's coming, and I still contend she should have been on Team USA, Shannon. You saw the attendance for Team USA compared to everybody else. If she was on that team, that wouldn't have been a problem. I stand by my position from day one. She's real.
Rather than recognizing Clark's apparent brilliance, these commentators attempted to downplay her achievements by doubting the authenticity of her victory. They bought into the premise that she was being propped up because of her popularity, despite the fact that she dominated the league. In today's digital era, no big sports dispute is complete without the accompanying social media frenzy. Fans, players, and commentators all flocked to Twitter and Instagram to express their thoughts on Clark's MVP award. Some hailed her efforts, describing her as a light of hope for the WNBA's future. Others, however, joined the chorus of opponents who said that her victory was unjustified.
Well, all the people that Stephen A. Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook. It got so bad yesterday, the Seattle Storm, they pulled their starters so she couldn't get that double-digit assist record 3 consecutive games with at least 20 points and 10 or more assists. They pulled their starters, and then Skylar Diggins, Faith Smith, her last name, she bumped into her, sped up. Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat, your brim, and get on out of my gym. Let her cook.
The social media environment immediately became a war, with Clark's admirers protecting her against a never-ending barrage of attacks from detractors. Hashtags and memes increased, with some making fun of the envious players and pundits, while others adopted a more serious tone, highlighting Clark's harsh treatment. However, social media also gave a venue for the most divisive aspects of the argument. Clark's detractors, both inside and outside the league, exploited these venues to promote disparaging stories about her climb to MVP. Some even launched personal assaults, criticizing everything from her beauty to her demeanor. The resentment over her victory seemed to escalate out of hand, becoming less about basketball and more about tearing down a young star who was challenging the existing quo.
Just in the women's side of things, and the hype that she had, the expectations she had to live up to, packing out arenas on a day-to-day basis, a lot of people out there waiting to see her fail, and still keeping her composure as a rookie and leading this team has been a beautiful thing to see.
Caitlin Clark's MVP award sparked more than just criticism. It sent shockwaves across the WNBA. For the first time in years, the league saw a player who not only dominated on the court, but also became the subject of a heated and divisive discussion. While the spotlight surrounding Clark likely attracted more eyes to the WNBA, it also highlighted some of the league's underlying concerns. The anger and hostility against Clark reflected a bigger issue of rivalry and some veterans' unwillingness to accept the ascent of a new star. This dynamic threatened to sever connections inside clubs and throughout the league as a whole.
I want to know what y'all saying now, because she is legit. She's better, Stephen A., she's better than I thought she would soon. I thought she would be good. You and I both said she's going to be good because she got two skill sets. She can score the basketball and she can assist the basketball. So if one is not going, the other one will. But a lot of people say, oh, this and that. Let her cook. Y'all stop being petty. Stop being catty, because she like a double-edged sword. She cutting tail left and right, and it's bothering y'all, and I see it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, do me a favor, CC. Send your favorite uncle a jersey with your autograph on it, and I'll wear it.
On the other side, Clark's dominance and the response she received sparked debate about the future of the WNBA. Many fans and commentators said that the league needed athletes like Clark to draw more spectators and take the sport to new heights. They said that the emphasis should be on recognizing Clark's skill rather than tearing her down out of jealousy.
Leavish hounding Clark. Clark, step back three, knocks it down. Take a look here at a career first.
Just step back, going right, I may add. It's usually step back, going left.
Despite the barrage of criticism, Caitlin Clark remained unaffected. Throughout her career, she had encountered skeptics and detractors who questioned her talents, and this was no exception. Rather than confronting her critics, Clark let her on-court performance speak for itself. Clark proceeded to put up impressive statistics in the games after her MVP triumph, demonstrating that she was well deserving of the honor. Her ability to rise above the hostility and stay focused on the game further cemented her place as one of the league's greatest players.
Yeah, I mean, Perk mentioned how she's learned from going into the film room, learned game from game. She equally learns within the game. On Friday, when they were playing against Vegas, she was held scoreless in the first half. What happened? She came out with some of that knowledge that she learned from that half in the previous game against Vegas and had 14 in the third quarter alone. She is just now playing at her pace, which, yes, is a very fast pace, but at the same time, the game has slowed down. We saw teams blitzing her like crazy early in the season. You can't do that anymore. She's playing today, to me.
Clark's calm and cool reaction to the controversy endeared her to admirers even more. While other players may have collapsed under the pressure of the criticism, Clark embraced it as inspiration to keep pushing herself to new heights. Her tenacity in the face of adversity became an important part of her story, demonstrating that genuine success requires not just ability, but also mental fortitude.
First lead for the Liberty that didn't last long as Smith puts the Fever back on top. The Indiana Fever.
And they need Smith in the game, and this is just a simple transition.
As the dust settled following the hoopla surrounding Caitlin Clark's MVP victory, the WNBA found itself in a difficult situation. On the one hand, the publicity generated by Clark's triumph and the subsequent controversy served to increase the league's profile. On the other hand, some players' animosity and resentment threatened to split the league and create a poisonous environment that may stifle its development.
Caitlin has dominated since the All-Star break. What's been the biggest change in her game that you've noticed?
Chennedy, it took her about a month to figure things out, but since about the end of June, she's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap her.
Players, commentators, and fans were left to consider the ramifications of Clark's ascension to the top. Will the league be able to overcome envy and welcome a new age of talent? Or will Clark's success exacerbate the divides, preventing the league from realizing its full potential? The answers to these questions could have been clearer. However, one thing was certain: Caitlin Clark had shattered the mold, and the WNBA would never be the same after. Whether her detractors liked it or not, Clark's domination pushed the league to address its fears and figure out how to proceed in the face of such overwhelming talent.
Had another monster game. She had 28 points, 12 assists, and a 193 win over the Dallas Wings today that pushed the Indiana Fever over 500 for the first time in 5 years.
Looking forward, it's evident that Caitlin Clark's career is just beginning. Her contentious MVP triumph is merely the start of what looks to be a long and successful career in the WNBA. As she continues to set records and exceed expectations, her naysayers will definitely have to accept her position in the league. The future is less assured for the WNBA as a whole. The league must find a way to balance the growth of emerging stars like Clark and the respect and recognition that experienced players deserve. While competition and rivalries are normal parts of sports, the animosity and jealousy that have emerged in response to Clark's success threaten to stymie the league's growth. The WNBA can see this as a watershed moment, a chance to enhance the sport by highlighting the extraordinary skill of girls like Caitlin Clark. However, in order to do so, the league must first address the underlying conflicts that surfaced as a result of her MVP victory. Only then can the WNBA genuinely prosper in the years ahead.
Your own building against you. Griner has it come off. Clark with the pull. Boston with a nice rim run.
Finally, Caitlin Clark's MVP triumph revealed WNBA's fault lines and spurred a discussion that extends beyond basketball. While her detractors may continue to doubt her achievements, there is no disputing that Clark has permanently altered the league. The issue now is whether the WNBA can meet the challenge and embrace the new age that Caitlin Clark symbolizes. The world of basketball is no stranger to intense rivalries and passionate emotions. Still, when a rising star like Caitlin Clark, known for her sharpshooting and record-breaking performances, is named to the All-WNBA First Team and crowned Rookie of the Year, it can shake up the entire landscape of the sport. Chennedy Carter, a young WNBA player known for her fiery personality and competitive edge, made headlines for all the wrong reasons when she reacted in a rather explosive manner to Clark's achievements. This article will dive deep into the background of both players, the significance of the accolades, and the fallout from Carter's tantrum.
By the way, speaking of basketball, Caitlin Clark now has the rookie record, the history of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's journey from a standout high school player to one of the most talked about rookies in WNBA history has been nothing short of spectacular. Born in Des Moines, Iowa, Clark has been breaking records and turning heads from an early age. Known for her incredible shooting range, vision on the court, and ability to control the pace of the game, she quickly became a top recruit for the University of Iowa.
Clark working on Van Loo. Oh, Clark, pretty step back, hits a three.
At Iowa, Clark's performances were consistently remarkable. During her college career, she racked up accolades such as the Nancy Lieberman Award for the nation's best point guard and multiple All-American honors. She was lauded not only for her scoring ability, but also for her leadership and basketball IQ, often leading her team to victory with her clutch performances.
Lineup I'm talking about with Katie Lou Samuelson at the 4.
Clark.
Upon entering the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was immediately on the radar as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. Her game translated seamlessly to the professional level, where she continued to amaze with her offensive prowess. Clark's ability to shoot from deep, combined with her playmaking and fearlessness on the court, made her an instant star. Her rookie season saw her setting records, making her a strong contender for Rookie of the Year, a prediction that many pundits and fans alike shared.
Clark gets away with a little push, fall away, buries it. And a little reaction.
On the other side of the story is Chennedy Carter, a player who had a promising rise in the WNBA. Carter, drafted 4th overall by the Atlanta Dream in 2020, quickly established herself as a dynamic scorer and playmaker. Her aggressive style of play and confidence in taking big shots earned her respect within the league. She was a standout player in college at Texas A&M, where she was known for her clutch performances and was a 3-time All-American.
Great job of coming up with that loose ball and converting. 6 seconds to go, opening quarter. Chennedy Carter, crossover to the rim.
However, Carter's time in the WNBA has been marked by both brilliance and controversy. While her talent is undeniable, she has also faced criticism for her attitude on and off the court. There have been reports of clashes with teammates and coaching staff, which have sometimes overshadowed her performances. Her competitive nature, while a strength on the court, has also led to some difficult situations, particularly when things don't go her way.
A little bit.
Yeah.
After
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good.
Carter, like many in the league, likely saw herself as a contender for Rookie of the Year when she entered the WNBA. With her impressive resume, it's easy to understand why she might have felt entitled to such recognition. However, when Caitlin Clark began dominating headlines and ultimately took home the award, Carter's reaction was far from gracious.
Here at Wintrust. Leads back up to double figures. How about Carter? Leaving everyone in her dust.
The WNBA Rookie of the Year award is one of the most prestigious honors a young player can earn. It signifies not only individual success, but also a promising future in the league. Caitlin Clark's selection for this award, along with being named to the All-WNBA first team, was a testament to her impact in her first season. Her shooting, court vision, and leadership were all factors in her earning these honors.
You're seeing Caitlin Clark. And for everybody who talked about, she's just a shooter, she's already set the all-time rookie.
The announcement of Clark's accolades was met with widespread approval from fans, coaches, and players alike. Her stats backed up the decision. She averaged over 20 points per game and had several standout performances, including game-winning shots and record-setting moments. Clark was not just a scorer, but a leader on the floor, making her an obvious choice for these accolades. While most players in the WNBA were quick to congratulate Caitlin Clark for her achievements, Chennedy Carter's response was quite the opposite. As the news broke, Carter took to social media, posting cryptic messages and expressing clear frustration. It didn't take long for fans and analysts to realize that her posts were directed at Clark's accolades.
After this controversial foul on Caitlin Clark.
Unnecessary.
Clark's Indiana Fever taking on the Chicago Sky on Saturday. The Sky's Chennedy Carter hitting a shot, then heading over to Clark and shoulder checking her. The refs called it a common foul, but the league yesterday upgraded the call to a flagrant foul.
Carter's tantrum wasn't just confined to social media, though. According to reports from inside the locker room, Carter expressed her anger to teammates and coaches, questioning why she wasn't the one being recognized. Her competitive nature, which had served her well on the court, seemed to boil over into a display of entitlement and frustration. This outburst reportedly created tension within her team, and some players were said to have been uncomfortable with the way Carter handled the situation. In the age of social media, Carter's reaction quickly went viral, with fans weighing in on both sides. Some sympathized with Carter, understanding her frustration as a young player trying to establish herself in a competitive league. Others, however, criticized her for not showing sportsmanship and for failing to celebrate another player's success.
Between the last game and today is our growth. We went to film today, we locked in, we seen the good things we did, we also seen the mistakes we made, and we're just trying to grow.
Carter's outburst did not go unnoticed by the WNBA or by the basketball community at large. Many fans and analysts criticized her behavior, calling it unprofessional and unsportsmanlike. While it's common for athletes to feel disappointed when they miss out on awards or recognition, Carter's public display of frustration was seen as crossing a line. On social media, fans debated the situation. Some defended Carter, arguing that her passion for the game and competitive drive were what made her a great player. They suggested that her reaction, while perhaps not ideal, was understandable given the stakes. Others, however, felt that Carter needed to learn how to handle such disappointments with more grace and maturity.
Move to Counted! What a move, Chennedy Carter!
The WNBA itself did not officially comment on Carter's behavior, but it was clear that the league was closely monitoring the situation. Carter's team, the Atlanta Dream, was also reportedly concerned about the impact her outburst could have on team chemistry moving forward. Carter's reaction to Caitlin Clark's accolades brings up a broader discussion about the pressures faced by young stars in the WNBA. The league is highly competitive, and for players like Carter, who are seen as the future of the league, the expectations can be overwhelming. Every player wants to be recognized for their contributions, and when that recognition doesn't come, it can lead to frustration and disappointment.
For my teammates, and if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me.
The WNBA is also a league where players are constantly compared to one another, and the media plays a significant role in shaping public perception. In this case, Carter may have felt overshadowed by the attention and praise Clark was receiving, which likely contributed to her reaction. It's a reminder that while these athletes may be stars on the court, they are also human and deal with the same emotions and insecurities as anyone else.
Good to get my feet wet, to be back in the WNBA. I think that Saturday I'm going to play with more energy, more tempo, and I'm for sure going to.
While Chennedy Carter was making headlines for her outburst, Caitlin Clark remained focused on her game. When asked about Carter's reaction during an interview, Clark handled the situation with poise and maturity. She expressed her gratitude for the recognition she received and made it clear that she respected all of her peers in the WNBA. Clark's response earned her even more admiration from fans and analysts. Her ability to rise above the drama and remain focused on her goals further solidified her status as one of the league's brightest young stars. For Clark, the accolades were a validation of her hard work, but they didn't define her. Her goal was always to help her team win and to continue growing as a player.
Nice. Boy, Enrique gave it to McCowan, who couldn't finish behind the back.
In the wake of her outburst, Chennedy Carter faces a critical moment in her career. While her talent is undeniable, her behavior has raised questions about her maturity and ability to handle the pressures of professional basketball. Moving forward, Carter will need to focus on improving not only her game, but also her attitude and professionalism. There is no doubt that Carter has the potential to be one of the best players in the WNBA, but she will need to channel her competitive drive in a way that benefits both herself and her team. Learning how to deal with disappointment and how to celebrate the success of others are important lessons for any athlete, and Carter has the opportunity to grow from this experience.
Muscles are way up. The and one.
Carter's reaction also illuminates the way women's sports are covered in the media. While male athletes often receive praise for their passion and competitiveness, female athletes are sometimes criticized more harshly for similar behavior. This double standard can make it even more difficult for players like Carter to navigate the pressures of professional sports. It's important to recognize that the media plays a role in shaping the narrative around these players, and that the narrative can sometimes be unfair or overly critical. While Carter's reaction may not have been ideal, it's worth considering how much of the public backlash was influenced by the way her story was covered.
Just respond, calm down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and then execute on offense.
Caitlin Clark's achievements as the WNBA's Rookie of the Year and her place on the All-WNBA First Team are well-deserved accolades that highlight her immense talent and hard work. Her success, however, sparked a dramatic reaction from Chennedy Carter, whose public display of frustration garnered widespread attention.
Clark over Horston, hits a three!
While Carter's outburst may have been a misstep, it also serves as a reminder of the intense pressure faced by young athletes in the WNBA. As both Clark and Carter continue their careers, the lessons learned from this. In the end, both players are part of the next generation of WNBA stars, and their stories will continue to captivate fans and inspire the next wave of athletes. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has produced a slew of outstanding players throughout the years, but two stand out in recent memory: Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Their paths, although different, have often crossed, with each making substantial contributions to women's basketball and the sport's general development. Clark and Mitchell have captivated fans with their on-court talent, and the history they have created together represents the WNBA's developing environment.
Wins all of last season. They're already at 10. Looking to tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown.
Caitlin Clark, a brilliant college basketball player, was making headlines even before she joined the WNBA. Her remarkable ascent has catapulted her into talks with the game's luminaries. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other side, has quickly established herself as one of the WNBA's top scorers after being drafted in 2018. These two players symbolize the league's present and future, and their journeys tell a unique story of grit, ability, and dedication.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41.
In this video, we will examine the connected histories of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, including their upbringing, early careers, and how they influenced and continue to develop the WNBA. We will also examine their playing styles, achievements, and impact both on and off the court.
Clark off the switch, found Smith, who laid it.
Caitlin Clark, born in West Des Moines, Iowa, has swiftly established herself as one of the country's most promising basketball players. Clark has had an unusual ability to score from wherever on the floor since he was little. Her high school career was nothing short of remarkable, as she established multiple records and received numerous awards. She was a high school All-American, and her choice to join the University of Iowa benefited both her and the program. During her college career, Clark's name became associated with explosive playmaking, long-range shooting, and a ferocious competitive spirit. Her ability to command the floor and push her team to success was shown when she led the Iowa Hawkeyes to new heights in the NCAA tournament. Clark's unwavering pursuit of perfection, along with her basketball IQ, elevated her to the ranks of women's collegiate basketball's most prominent players.
As Bonner can't hit, Fag-Benley the rebound. Here comes Clark, bouncing to Fag-Benley, who lays it in!
Clark was already being compared to some of the finest players in the WNBA before going pro, and her ability to have a huge effect on the league was obvious. She was seen not just as a potential WNBA player, but also as someone whose unique skill set may transform the game. Kelsey Mitchell, born in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a somewhat different road to basketball greatness. Mitchell's basketball career started in high school, where she polished her abilities before attending Ohio State University. Mitchell became one of the most prolific scorers in NCAA history while at Ohio State, establishing records for both her shooting ability and on-court leadership. Her accomplishments earned her a berth in the 2018 WNBA draft, when she was taken second overall by the Indiana Fever.
Minnesota bouncing back on top. Kelsey Mitchell also heating up in the second half.
The high arcing from Kelsey Mitchell.
Mitchell's move to the WNBA was simple, and she rapidly established herself in the league. Her scoring talent, especially from beyond the arc, gave her a nightmare for opponents, and she emerged as one of the Indiana Fever's primary offensive weapons. Mitchell's skill has improved over the years, and she is now one of the league's most consistent scorers. While Clark was still making an impact in college, Mitchell had already established herself as one of the best players in the WNBA, demonstrating that her collegiate success could be translated to the professional level.
Steve 9, 5:13 left in regulation. Mitchell tries to answer with a long-range jumper of her own.
Caitlin Clark's game is typified by her ability to score from any position on the floor. She possesses long range, allowing her to make three-pointers from many feet beyond the arc, similar to NBA stars such as Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard. But Clark is much more than simply a shooter. She is a superb playmaker, often setting up her teammates for easy baskets with precision passing and excellent court vision.
Comes Caitlin. Get it!
Clark's basketball IQ stands out among many other players. She is a game student who consistently makes the correct judgments and is seldom shaken by high-stakes scenarios. Clark has shown to be one of the most versatile players in recent memory, whether she is creating space for a shot, driving to the basket, or providing an assist. Clark is also a formidable defensive player. She uses her length and quickness to block passing lanes, and her competitive drive keeps her focused on both ends of the floor. Her total flexibility makes her a player who can influence the game in a variety of ways, which is one of the reasons she was so successful in college and is anticipated to succeed in the WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other hand, is well known for her scoring skills. Throughout her collegiate and WNBA careers, she was one of the most dangerous offensive players in the league. Mitchell's fast release and ability to build her shot make her an ongoing danger to opposition defenses. Her three-point shooting is exceptional, and she can pull up from anywhere on the floor with ease.
Mitchell has not missed a shot yet. She's 3 for 3. Shot clock down to 5. Mitchell trying to create. Step back, that's a 3. She connects. Mitchell is...
But Mitchell is more than simply a shooter. She can also attack the basket and finish through contact, making her a dynamic scorer who can disrupt defenses in various ways. Her quickness and ball handling abilities enable her to beat opponents off the dribble, and she is adept at managing traffic to reach the basket. While Mitchell's greatest strength is her ability to score, she has also improved her playmaking skills with time. Early in her career, she was more concerned with her offense, but as she grew, she learned to include her teammates more, making her a complete player. Mitchell is aggressive on defense, utilizing her agility to keep ahead of her opponents and disrupt their attacking flow. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA is much anticipated as she prepares to make her debut. Her academic success has already elevated her to an elite company, and many expect her to be a game changer on the professional level. The possibility of Clark competing against experienced WNBA talents like Kelsey Mitchell adds an interesting element to the league. Fans are excited to watch how Clark's unique skill set will transfer against the world's finest defenders and how she will improve the performance of her future squad. Clark's debut in the WNBA is crucial not just for her own career, but also for the league as a whole. The exposure she received during her college years has helped to increase awareness of women's basketball, and her participation in the WNBA is anticipated to improve the league's appeal even more.
Realizes it. Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits from the mid-range, 20 points.
While Clark's WNBA debut is greatly anticipated, Kelsey Mitchell's reputation in the league continues to grow. Mitchell is already 3 years into her professional career and has established herself as one of the WNBA's finest offensive players. Her steady scoring and leadership on the court have made her a vital member of the Indiana Fever, and she shows no signs of slowing down. Mitchell's impact in the WNBA extends beyond just scoring points. She has become a mentor to younger players, guiding the future generation of stars, such as Caitlin Clark, who will shortly join the league. Mitchell's expertise and leadership are critical to the development of the league's future stars, and she continues to set a standard for what it takes to achieve at the top level of female basketball.
So just trying to force the pace, pull up 3. Mitchell.
As Caitlin Clark joins the WNBA, she and Kelsey Mitchell will undoubtedly face off on the floor. These clashes are guaranteed to be exciting, as both players have great offensive abilities and a competitive intensity that motivates them to perform at their best. While Clark's approach is more focused on playmaking and adaptability, Mitchell's sheer scoring ability provides a unique challenge to any opponent. Clark and Mitchell's competition, although heated on the court, is likely to be characterized by mutual respect. Both athletes have overcome enormous challenges to reach the pinnacle of their respective sports, and they understand the commitment and hard work required to achieve at the professional level. This admiration will be visible in their confrontations as they push each other to new heights and elevate the WNBA's level of competitiveness.
WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and
Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell's participation in the WNBA ushers in a new era for women's basketball. As the league's popularity grows, athletes like Clark and Mitchell are at the vanguard of that transformation.
Their distinct skill sets, competitive spirit, and ability to interact with fans make them ideal ambassadors for the league's future.
And you know what that is? Kudos to her, because that means not only has she been putting in the work behind the scenes, but that means
The effect of these two athletes extends beyond their on-court performances. Both Clark and Mitchell have utilized their platforms to promote women's sports and encourage the next generation of female athletes. Their effect can be seen in the increased number of young girls who pick up a basketball and hope to one day play in the WNBA. Clark and Mitchell are creating history together, which is crucial in terms of representation. As the WNBA fights for more exposure and equality in the world of sports, the success of players like Clark and Mitchell contributes to the ongoing discussion about the value of women's sports and the need for increased funding and support. Looking forward, Caitlin Clark's future in the WNBA seems very promising.
rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA.
She has all of the tools necessary to become one of the league's brightest lights. There will be an adjustment period as she moves from college to professional basketball, but Clark's skill and work ethic indicate that she will adapt quickly and prosper in the WNBA. Clark's ability to motivate her colleagues and improve those around her will be critical to her long-term success. As her game improves, it's not difficult to envision her guiding her team to several playoff berths and maybe a title.
When you're at that position, the point guard position, and you're leading the charge, you have to figure things out. But all I was hearing...
Kelsey Mitchell sees the future as ongoing domination in the WNBA. Mitchell, who is now at the peak of her career, has already established herself as one of the league's top offensive players. As she continues to improve her game and take on additional leadership responsibilities, she will undoubtedly be a key figure in the WNBA for many years to come.
And offensively be more involved here.
Aaliyah Boston is one of the elite post players in this league. She needs to get touches down low in the...
Mitchell's ability to score at will, along with her developing playmaking abilities, make her a tough challenge for any opponent. As the league evolves, Mitchell will be at the forefront, paving the way for the next generation of WNBA players. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell's past together demonstrates their talent, tenacity, and passion for the game of basketball. While their paths have been different, they have each had a significant effect on women's basketball, and their presence in the WNBA is helping to define the league's future.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has...
As Clark starts her professional career and Mitchell builds on her already great reputation, the WNBA is in capable hands. These two athletes symbolize the pinnacle of women's basketball, and their contributions will be felt for years to come. Whether as opponents or teammates, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are creating history, and their careers are far from done.
Clark has space, she's gonna let it fly, and she's gonna connect!
Caitlin Clark is unstoppable in the WNBA right now, and it appears that no matter what occurs, she rises to the occasion. Clark's recent move has dramatically altered the league landscape, leaving fans, pundits, and even her detractors stunned. The same people who formerly mocked her or questioned her talents are now faced with the inescapable truth. Caitlin Clark is unstoppable. Every move she makes and every game she plays leaves the WNBA in awe, but her most recent accomplishment elevated it to a new level. It was more than just a game-changing performance. It was a cultural event, a seismic shift that had her critics scurrying for an explanation.
listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41.
Have you seen how Caitlin Clark has been generating news across all sports media platforms recently? If you haven't seen him, you're missing out on one of the most entertaining basketball players of all time. Caitlin Clark has taken the sports world by storm, becoming a household name for skill, confidence, and game-changing performances. What began as a rising star in the collegiate basketball scene has swiftly evolved into a legend who is transforming the way we think about women's basketball, and she has now managed to humble ESPN journalists in a manner that no one expected.
Power block by Boston. Here comes Caitlin. Get it!
For years, ESPN and other sports publications have been chastised for underrepresenting women's sports, notably their coverage of the WNBA. However, Caitlin Clark has not only changed the narrative around women's basketball, but she has also pushed the media to sit up and pay notes in a manner they have never done before. With her on-court domination, fearless demeanor, and large fan following, she has embarrassed big media outlets, pushing them to see the grandeur of women's basketball that they previously disregarded. In doing so, she has propelled the WNBA to a level of notoriety that will permanently change the landscape.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has...
Prior to Caitlin Clark's rise to popularity, the media, especially ESPN, mostly overlooked women's basketball. Their coverage of the WNBA was often scant and limited to off-peak hours, while in-depth analysis and big promotional efforts were mostly kept for men's sports. This neglect was especially evident when it came to players like Clark, whose extraordinary performances and numbers would have made headlines if they had occurred in the men's game. ESPN has an opportunity to get ahead of the curve by seeing Clark's potential early on. Her collegiate accomplishments were nothing short of spectacular, with her ability to score from any position on the floor, her passing range, and her basketball IQ garnering her comparisons to NBA great. However, the conventional sports media was reluctant to respond, often focusing on other issues and downplaying Clark's pioneering achievements.
Game attendance and per-game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
As Clark's impact expanded, it became clear that she was not receiving the press she deserved. Fans of the game started to wonder why one of the most entertaining players in basketball, male or female, was not getting the respect she plainly deserved. As a consequence, ESPN found itself playing catch-up, attempting to reclaim trust with basketball fans who had already made Caitlin Clark a household name. Caitlin Clark's ascent to popularity started long before the media welcomed her. She dominated college basketball, guiding her team to stunning feats that often left spectators and experts stunned. Clark became a highlight machine thanks to her 40-point performances, ability to shoot from deep, and remarkable talent for finding teammates with beautiful passes.
What's different about winning this a second time?
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is like this is my senior year. It's
her efforts in the NCAA women's basketball tournament were especially memorable, and it was during these high-stakes games that she fully established herself on a national scale. Clark led the Iowa Hawkeyes far into the tournament, putting up stat lines to match even the finest male athletes. Her aggressive approach to the game, pulling up for shots from far beyond the arc, facing multiple defenders, and producing clutch plays in crunch time, became the focus of the basketball world. Despite the media's slow response, fans were already deeply immersed in Clark's story. Social media became the forum for sharing, dissecting, and admiring her achievements. Videos of her performances went viral, with supporters praising her great skill while lamenting the lack of media attention she was getting.
WNBA Player of the Week. Surprise, surprise. Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really.
It all came to a head when Caitlin Clark's name became too prominent to ignore. During her most recent season, Clark delivered a streak of memorable performances. She broke records, guided her team to spectacular triumphs, and secured her legacy as one of the sport's finest players. However, ESPN, which was reluctant to recognize her full significance, continued to understate her accomplishments in their reporting.
Notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history.
This all changed when Clark's fans and the rest of the basketball community decided to take action. The disparity between her performances and the media's lackluster coverage reached a critical point. Fans flooded social media with footage of Clark's highlights, criticizing ESPN for neglecting to give her the recognition she deserved. It became evident that conventional media outlets were out of touch with the basketball community, and ESPN found itself on the losing end of the argument. ESPN's humiliation came when Clark produced a game so dominating that ignoring it became impossible. After another outstanding performance in a nationally broadcast game, ESPN had no option but to give Clark the recognition she had long deserved. However, it was too late. The basketball world was already beyond them, and ESPN's effort to catch up seemed forced and fake.
Can you believe that? It's hard to believe. Well, this is where we land. To Chicago Sky down at 7th place, Indiana Fever.
Caitlin Clark's influence went beyond insulting the media. It also altered the course of the WNBA. Historically, the WNBA has failed to attract the same amount of media attention and fan enthusiasm as its male counterpart, the NBA. This lack of attention created a vicious cycle in which the league was unable to increase its fan base, and the media defended the lack of coverage by citing poor ratings. Clark's ascension has given the WNBA fresh vigor, not only because of her skill, but also because of how she has engaged fans. The media, obliged to recognize her brilliance, began to pay greater attention to the WNBA, and as a result, fans began to pay closer attention to the league as well. Clark's popularity grew, and more people tuned in to see her play, whether as a final-year college student or a prospective WNBA star.
You know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches. And, you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
ESPN and other sites, seeing their error in underestimating Clark's power, started to enhance their WNBA coverage, focusing on the league's stars in ways they hadn't before. This change in focus is creating opportunities for other outstanding players in the WNBA, giving them the recognition they deserve and helping to expand the league. Caitlin Clark's presence has altered not just the media's perception of women's basketball, but also how other WNBA players are seen. Clark's leadership has had a knock-on effect, with media outlets now covering other league players more extensively. Players like Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu are profiting from the increasing attention as the media recognizes the WNBA's potential as a major sports organization.
45 blocks last year, Clark for three! Clark, they said she has redefined what a good shot is.
Clark's impact extends to the way the game is played. Her distinctive basketball style, fast-paced, long-range shooting, and high basketball IQ has inspired younger players who see her as a role model. Her confidence and talent on the court have redefined what it means to be a dominating player in women's basketball, and other players are beginning to mimic her approach. In doing so, she contributes to the evolution of the game and raises the standard of play across the league. Caitlin Clark's ascension occurs at a time when the WNBA is poised for expansion. The league's viewership has steadily increased in recent years, and Clark's effect is just speeding up that trend. As more people tune in to see her play, the league is gaining a new generation of fans who are optimistic about the future of women's basketball.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, you know, be grateful that my team was in that position.
This increase in popularity also results in financial growth. With increased media and fan interest, the WNBA's sponsorship and broadcast contracts are growing more valuable. Brands who were previously reluctant to invest in women's basketball are now recognizing opportunities for expansion, which is helping to raise the league's image. Caitlin Clark's impact will continue to be an important part of the WNBA narrative as it grows. Her ability to captivate fans and command media attention is changing the league's perception, and her sustained success will further strengthen the WNBA's position in the mainstream sports world. Caitlin Clark hasn't simply embarrassed ESPN, she's revolutionized the game. Her ascent to prominence has caused the media to reconsider how it covers women's sports, and as a result, the WNBA has received unprecedented attention. Her impact not only helps the league expand, but also inspires the next generation of basketball players. Clark's impact will be recognized not just for her extraordinary skill, but also for shifting the debate around women's basketball. By demanding the credit she deserves, she has created opportunities for other players and helped propel the sport to new heights. Caitlin Clark's effect has contributed significantly to the WNBA's continued popularity. She has shown that women's basketball is just as interesting, competitive, and deserving of attention as any other sport, permanently altering the landscape of the WNBA. The league's future looks better than ever, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way. The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. A'ja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as A'ja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why A'ja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why A'ja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, A'ja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as A'ja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
A'ja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believed that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
each possession, and if you do that, you're probably going to have a team in rotation, and you're probably going to have some mismatches.
Clark, step back three.
Another issue contributing to the MVP dispute is the media's involvement in framing the narrative. Sports media has an important role in promoting player achievements, changing public opinion, and eventually influencing awards such as MVP. Throughout the season, the media concentrated on established players like Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, while Caitlin Clark, despite her amazing season, received less national recognition. This media prejudice may have contributed to Clark's MVP snub. As Wilson pointed out in her outburst, the league and its media partners may be sleeping on the future, failing to identify the next generation of potential. The WNBA is at a crucial point, and Caitlin Clark represents the league's future. Ignoring her in the MVP debate sends the wrong message to fans and aspiring athletes who look up to Clark as a role model.
When you're talking about Caitlin, I think there's no denying her ability to influence your offense, right? When you think about different players, you think about, oh, they can really score the ball, they can really push the ball in transition.
Aja Wilson's response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection underlines her status as a WNBA leader. During her career, Wilson has utilized her position to advocate for topics that are important to her, like social, justice, and improved compensation and recognition for WNBA players. Wilson's current outburst is just another example of her sticking up for what she feels to be right. Wilson's leadership goes beyond her team and performance. By openly criticizing the WNBA's MVP selection, she advocates for justice and pushes the league to develop. Her willingness to speak up, even at the risk of causing controversy, demonstrates her commitment to the future of the WNBA and her desire to see players like Caitlin Clark get the credit they deserve.
She's been hot, shooting 43% during that time from the three-point line.
Wilson all mid-range and all day.
With the debate in full swing, the major question is, how will the WNBA react? The league has yet to release a formal comment on Caitlin Clark's MVP snub or Aja Wilson's angry response. However, considering the severity of the debate and the broad attention it has received, the WNBA may feel pressured to address the issue. The league might react in many ways. It may address the criticism and explain the MVP selection process, or it could sit mute and let the topic flow naturally. In any case, the league must tread cautiously since this issue has the potential to influence public opinion of the MVP award and the WNBA's dedication to developing new talent.
We do that in the WNBA.
As the MVP debate continues, both Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson will surely be in the limelight. Clark's MVP disappointment might inspire her future performances. She's already established herself to be a powerhouse on the court, and this recent development may encourage her to climb even higher in her career. This event demonstrates Aja Wilson's leadership and enthusiasm for the game. While her reaction was dramatic, it also demonstrates how much she cares about the league's future and the recognition of good players. Wilson's willingness to stand up for Caitlin Clark might cement her place as one of the WNBA's most important leaders, both on and off the field.
Some people didn't expect her to be as good as she was early. I did. I thought she would be.
To summarize, Aja Wilson's emotional response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has sparked a discourse about more than just one prize. It's a conversation about the WNBA's future, how to recognize emerging talent, and how leadership shapes the league. As we wait to see how the WNBA reacts, one thing is certain: this will be recognized as a watershed event in the league's history. Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is evident, and although she may have been overlooked this season, her future is very promising. Aja Wilson's strong enthusiasm continues to drive the discourse, and her leadership on and off the court establishes her as a real legend in the sport.
McBenley, handoff Clark, launches, and hits him.
Stay tuned for further updates on this developing topic, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the most up-to-date sports news.
You know, this is a dream. This is something I wrote down on a piece of paper when I was in second grade. Get a basketball scholarship, play in the WNBA. This is always something I wanted to do.
The WNBA has long been a hotbed of competitive energy, including some of the world's most gifted athletes, some like Caitlin Clark, whose rapid ascent has created an undertone of dissatisfaction. Also, Teresa Weatherspoon, the Chicago Sky's head coach.
You have to ask yourself that every single day that you live this life. Are you impacting the lives of other people? So I'm praying that the position that I hold tells people
recently made headlines at a news conference for what many are calling an unusual outburst, as well as her team's performance. The seasoned coach, renowned for her calm demeanor and great knowledge, surprised everyone when she refused to address questions regarding Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Keep moving! Keep moving! There we go!
How have you liked your attack on the offensive end, Spoon?
This event has caused significant conjecture and debate in the basketball world, prompting many to wonder, what is it about Caitlin Clark that is shaking up the WNBA so dramatically? In this video, we'll examine the controversy surrounding Teresa Weatherspoon's response and how Clark's presence in the league has changed the dynamics on the court, while also ruffling the feathers of established players and coaches.
Honestly, I think setting my teammates up, I think that just like provides so much more energy to the team. It gets everybody going, and when everybody can like touch the ball and, you know, get going in that way, I think it just, you know, everybody just flows a little bit better. The offense flows a little bit better. But that's something I take a lot of pride in. At times I think I can try to like overpass and probably could be a little more aggressive to the basket. But yeah, I think with the weapons that we have on our team.
We'll also investigate why Clark's influence on the WNBA is becoming a double-edged sword, bringing both unprecedented attention and great pressure on the league.
Yeah, I think we responded well after we had to use that timeout early in the third.
To comprehend the full scope of the present conflict, you must first understand why Caitlin Clark is generating such a stir in the WNBA.
I think turnovers are costing us a little bit. If we can take care of the ball a little bit better, we'll be in a better position, but I thought we did better on the O boards.
Clark's performance on the professional stage has been nothing short of remarkable. She is not just playing the game, she is rewriting the rules and establishing new standards.
But they go in. Not only do they go in consistently. And the way she plays the game, she's the true definition of a great player.
Clark made it evident right away that she wasn't your typical rookie. Her performances have repeatedly been jaw-dropping, and her statistics prove it. Clark, who averages 22.6 points.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now
7.8 assists and 5.4 rebounds per game, and has a 34.6% three-point shooting percentage, is not only making an impact,
slowly developing and getting better and better. And yeah, I think we're just, you know, learning as time goes and each game goes, like we're just getting better and better.
You've had an absolutely whirlwind first half of your rookie campaign. I want to ask you how much you're looking forward to this break, right, coming up,
but also creating history. These statistics are astonishing for any athlete, much alone a rookie. It's a little surprising that she's immediately been the focus of talks about the WNBA's future.
Well, she's definitely taken that golden advice, recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20-plus point rebound games.
However, Clark's effect extends beyond her statistics. Her impact on the Indiana Fever has been nothing short of transformational. Last season, the Fever finished with a 13-27 record, making them one of the league's worst teams.
This is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
However, with Clark at the helm, the Fever have made a stunning turnaround. They're no longer the league's punching bag.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back. And
instead, they're vying for a postseason place after already exceeding last year's victory total. Clark seemed to have revitalized the whole squad, transforming them into a formidable force.
Yeah, they've both been tremendous. I thought they played great defense. They've made great decisions out of the pick and roll or pick and pop. We got to keep going to them. All right, thanks. Thank you.
The Fever's comeback hasn't gone unnoticed. They're playing entertaining, competitive basketball, and fans are paying attention. Clark's arrival has revitalized the squad.
More than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me. I don't really care if we win another game. It's just having these people in my life for forever.
Resulting in an inevitable increase in expectations. However, although the Fever's success story is one of the most thrilling events in recent WNBA history.
Yeah, that's just not a basketball play, but you know, got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level. So I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies around the rim, and so hopefully those fall in the fourth, but really proud of our team.
It has also resulted in a slew of unexpected repercussions. With tremendous success comes considerable attention, not all of which is beneficial.
Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
As Clark's fame continues to grow, so does the hostility she seems to be instilling in her opponents.
Stephen A., I'm talking to you, Stephen A., if you had promoted the WNBA more, if you had talked about it more, they would have played more games. Like I had the power to go up to ESPN and say, you know, directors and producers and cameramen and everybody else flock to the WNBA at the time.
The WNBA has always had its fair share of rivalries and competitive edge, but what we're seeing now with Clark and the Indiana Fever is something new, more fierce.
People are pulling up to games, we got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like,
one of the most striking evidence of this growing hatred came in a recent game versus the Connecticut Sun. During the match, Alyssa Thomas committed a hard foul on Clark, which many fans and experts deemed unwarranted and unnecessarily violent. The foul was largely viewed as a direct message: welcome to the WNBA, rookie. It was a sharp reminder that despite her outstanding accomplishments, Clark is still seen as an outsider by some of the league's veterans. However, the situation with Thomas is not uncommon. In many games, Clark has faced more physical and aggressive defense.
Give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that
you've done. Opposing teams seem eager to go to any length to control her, even crossing the line into unsportsmanlike behavior. This kind of approach demonstrates Clark's impact. Teams are starting to regard her as more than simply a brilliant player, but also a real danger to their success.
honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball.
Clark's resilience, however, is her most outstanding quality. Despite the increasing aggressiveness and efforts to knock her off her game, she stays undeterred. She continues to play her signature style of basketball, making impossible passes, scoring long-range shots, and leading her team with grace and confidence. Clark isn't simply surviving the hardships she faces, she's flourishing in them. Given the background of escalating tensions, it's no wonder that emotions are high around the league. However, Teresa Weatherspoon's reply at a recent news appearance surprised many. Weatherspoon, a renowned figure in women's basketball, is noted for her wide knowledge and level-headed approach to the game.
I'm pretty sure I'll be in a three-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out. So, but also like, the roster that we have in the three-point competition is incredible. You look at their percentages, they're all 40% three-point shooters. Like, they're shooting better percentage-wise than I am, so they all deserve it. I'll be there supporting, watching them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was just like take some rest and make a decision for myself, which is at times can be hard to do. And
that's why her hasty exit from a news appearance, refusing to answer questions regarding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, has perplexed many. In all of my years covering basketball, I've never seen anything like that. Coaches are often required to exhibit a sense of calm and professionalism, particularly in front of the media. However, Weatherspoon's reply was anything but calm.
I'm honestly proud of myself for doing that.
I so appreciate your honesty there. And I was talking to Diana Taurasi earlier today.
Her abrupt departure generated more questions than it answered, leading everyone to speculate on what might have provoked such a strong reaction. To comprehend the importance of this occasion, we must first analyze Teresa Weatherspoon.
Yeah, obviously nothing's official, and for this league, like, to me, it's like sky's the limit. You're seeing how incredible it can be. You can see how hard it is to get a ticket to get into the doors, how many people want to turn it on their television, how people are traveling miles and miles to come and watch and have an opportunity to interact with the players or just watch the players play basketball live in person. So, you know, obviously expansion is going to really help. The new media deal is going to help.
She is not just any coach, she is a Hall of Famer, a two-time WNBA champion, and a veteran of the women's basketball world. For someone of her standing to respond in this manner implies that something else is going on. One idea suggests that Weatherspoon's behavior stems from dissatisfaction. The Chicago Sky, on which she has poured her heart and her, is faltering this season, but Clark's Indiana Fever is on the rise.
And I think you're just going to continue to see it grow. This is really only the beginning in my eyes. It's the hardest league in all of sports with only, you know, less than 144 spots. Obviously that's expanding, but you know, I'm excited. The people that have been in this league deserve it, and then obviously the people that are going to continue to come into this league are.
It's conceivable that witnessing her team struggle while a rookie like Clark dominates the league is hard for her to accept. After all, Weatherspoon has spent years establishing her image and team, and suddenly a 22-year-old is stealing the show. This might be a difficult pill to take for someone who has devoted their life to the sport.